Welcome to my talk on how to bring accessibility into your teams. And thank you very much, Tesena, for the opportunity for doing the Ladies' Day special talk. Okay, oops. So a little bit about myself. I have been testing for over 10 years now. I completed 10 years last August. I studied computer science and fell into testing, and I'm still testing because I like it a lot. I'm a blogger. I tend to blog quite a bit and do shared blogs as well. I speak at many events, whether that's conferences, webinars, or hosting events as well. I am a trainer for software testing, and I work for an airline. So today what we're going to cover is some background knowledge on accessibility. What I mean by A11Y is the word accessibility has letters A and Y, but the characters in between are 11 characters. So to shorten the word accessibility, it's A11Y. So if I'm using that in the slides, it's equivalent to the word accessibility. So why accessibility is important and why should we do this is what we're going to see as well. The benefits behind it. And then part 2 will be all around how to bring accessibility to your team, how to coach your teams as well, because it's easy to think about something and get excited about it. But how do we actually make sure that we can deploy this successfully as well? And part 3, when to do accessibility and some tips for you to take away today. So let's get started. So the power of the web is in its universality. Access by everyone, regardless of disability, is an essential aspect. This is something I really, really like by Tim Berners-Lee, and it's quite meaningful as well. So I'm going to play a video now. Please let me know you can hear it, and we'll get started from that.
Nothing's happening.
Okay. Martin, it took you about 10 seconds to tell me that nothing's happening. Yeah. So it was a trick. Just imagine yourself with a person with a disability who can potentially not see or doesn't have access to the video or can't approach it. Can you imagine how long they could be stuck trying to make a video work? So we need to be very mindful and very aware that whatever we do in our applications is socially aware and we are reaching a wider audience. So it was a trick, but a meaningful one. And now actually time for a little video for you. So I'm going to stop sharing this screen and I'm going to start sharing a different screen. Okay, this one should start now.
Passions. Everyone should have a passion.
I love fashion. I like to dress nice.
I love food. I love sewing.
What I'm passionate about is that everything should work for everybody.
I'm currently working as a mathematics teacher in a school for the blind.
I was a social worker years ago, and because of my hearing loss, I could not do my job anymore, and I left my job.
I have cerebral palsy, and I use system up, and I am access all the features.
The advancement of technology has really been helpful to me. Now I use my phone for going online almost exclusively.
If there wasn't accessibility, I wouldn't be here. I'm using my phone to read what you're saying. I have an app.
In my hand, I can hold a device that keeps me connected to the world. Then the only question is, how do I access it? Everyone else is looking at their smart devices, and I have to listen to it.
Week 5,000 good minimum. I need a consistent environment. I don't need something that's cute. I'm not here for cute. I'm here for efficiency. The machine is making things easier for me. If it makes things harder, it goes in the bay.
There should be something for someone like me where I could have an insight of what's trending and get to know what goes with my body type, what goes with my skin color.
Each of us have our own needs. We're all on a spectrum. And on that spectrum, all we need are the right tools to be able to gain access to what we need.
All of this technology has been absolutely life-changing for me and for people with hearing loss.
Accessibility to me is like the air. It has to be there all the time.
Okay, I'll go back to sharing my screen. I hope you found the video meaningful. Okay, my screen is back on. And yes, let's begin with a bit of background knowledge on accessibility then. So as you can see, these are some numbers around the world in millions and thousands, and they're quite big numbers. It may look like they're not very big because we are not aware of it or something, but these are very, very big numbers and a bit worrying. That makes you think that what are we doing to be socially aware? What are we doing so that people who fall in the different spectrum, as the videos say, how are we supporting wherever possible? Just a bit of statistics, because I love statistics. There are 13.9 million disabled people in the UK, 8% of which are disabled children, 19% of the working age adults are disabled. So 19% is a big percent of people who are actually working in offices today with us. 45% of pension age adults are disabled and would potentially want to be also using any applications and like bank apps and whatnot, and even children. They would want to maybe watch some cartoons or something on a tablet or just access something for entertainment. And 1 in 5 people in the UK have long-term illness, impairment, or disability. So the big question arises, are we making it accessible for them? For individuals without a disability, technology makes things easier. For individuals with a disability, technology makes things possible. And just a simple example here, I am short-sighted, and today I'm wearing contact lenses. And thanks to that technology, I can see the screen, I can read everything, I can see the webinar properly. If I take these off, my assisted technology would not allow me to see anything. So thanks to technology, it's made things easier. And this is how we should think, that if we are building an application, how can we make it easier? And not just easier for our clients and just their teams, but also about stakeholders. We may be working with people who might be colorblind. Maybe I have a tester who's working with me who can't see the color blue. So how do I make it accessible, not just B2B, but B2C as well, is what we need to start thinking. So how did I come across accessibility as a tester? Well, I was working for a very big client, and we had gone live without thinking about accessibility. And one of my managers came into the room really, really worried, asking, have you done accessibility testing? And that's the first time I heard about accessibility. And that was about 5 to 6 years ago, which was a bit worrying for me, that how come I've never heard this word before? And I felt a big imposter syndrome at that point. And that's where I started to learn about what is accessibility and all the material out there. How can it support me to understand? And it made me think that I should present this at some point as well. So why did I think of this topic? Well, it's a very, very important topic. It's always good to build amazing applications, but do not limit them only to a certain type of people. Try and be open to a bigger audience, because you never know that you might be able to aid someone with a disability with your application, and be socially aware as well. So a question for you all to think in the audience: have you ever heard about this? And if not, have you maybe, what would your steps be to sort of learn about this as well? And obviously, I will share lots of useful resources and advocates at the end, so that you can sort of connect with me on social network, and you can see the posts that I put and all the advocates that support this as well, to help you with your learning, because there's always resources from all the advocates and the community leads. So why is accessibility important? Well, first of all, it serves the community. It's the relationship you build with your community. You want to reach more people. You want to get better feedback as well. It's a smart thing to do business-wise because you are trying to do more than what your competitor company might be doing. So it makes you look good in the market as well. You're very innovative as well by thinking that you're adding accessibility aware thoughts in your product as well. So you're driving innovation through that, and your brand, it gets enhanced automatically because you're reaching more people. More people will give you better feedback, and you're also reaching people with a disability. So they will appreciate your tool as well, because you may help them unblock from something that they have been blocked for some time. Also, in terms of market research, you've extended your market research, so you're reaching more individuals. And legalities, it minimizes all legal risks. So one thing to think about here is, and also research, is the EU laws that are coming next year in June. They're going to impact a lot of the products in the EU, especially digital products. So it's really important that we start thinking how to embed accessibility into our applications and how to sort of make it part of our strategies. The benefits of this is that, of course, you reached a wider audience. You get the respect for that. It increases usability. So if there is a tool that you want to get tested by a person who is blind, they might be able to give you some more feedback that a person who is not blind could give you. So if you invite your clients around, you will see the differences, and then you can make your product better. Of course, it satisfies current and future legal requirements and ethics. It's better to look at law and ethics earlier rather than them chasing you later on. And it improves maintainability and efficiency, of course, because what is the point of thinking about accessibility when the product is a monolith? It will become too expensive, and it will become really, really, how shall I say it? It would become really risky to move things around to embed accessibility when a product is a monolith. So why not shift left with it and think earlier and have it as best practices in our code, best practices with design, and so on. So a little video here, because I love videos. Okay, I'll try play it again because maybe some of you might have missed something here. So I'll play it again. Okay, so I'm going to speak you through this video. So as you can see, I'm entering this room with a handle outside, and there's no door handle in the inside of the bedroom. And this is my home that was getting built 3 years ago now. And it was really, really shocking for me to understand that the previous owner, how were they living in this bedroom? Because there's a handle outside, but how do they get in? How do they get out of the room, actually? But luckily, because I had those gloves and I didn't shut the door properly, I could sort of get my way through outside. But this is basically known as a trap. And I would really recommend you to read the book by Nielsen Norman about design of everyday things. It's really, really good. And it's really shocking how you think something should work according to you, but it doesn't. And exactly like this, you may get trapped on an application because many people like to use a keyboard when they're trying to browse on the net or trying to buy something. They just like to use keyboard. They don't prefer using mouse or anything. So have we thought about getting trapped with a keyboard, which happens in a lot of applications? You get trapped and there's no way out rather than just closing the application and maybe going to a competitor product. So we need to think about these things. So the WCAG conformance level, this would be the biggest guide that you can use, which is the Web Content Accessibility Guideline. It explains how to make web content more accessible to people with disabilities. And the WCAG covers websites, applications, and other digital content. And they have 3 conformance levels, the single A, double A, and triple A. So let's have a quick glance over those. So single A is basically making sure that anything that's non-text content, such as images and videos, have at least a text equivalent, have some sort of description, so that if someone's using a voiceover on that application, the voiceover can read it back. Users must be able to access content using a keyboard only. Forms must include labels or instructions so users know what's expected of them. So this is when you have to fill out formulas or some sort of feedback forms. So basically have some instructions there. Assistive technologies such as screen readers must be able to access content, and information or instructions must not be conveyed through shape, size, or color alone. Double A, which is something that will be enforced next year. All companies in the EU should have a double A. What does double A involve? Well, everything that we read about single A plus this. So text and background must use good color contrast. For example, have a minimum level contrast of at least 4.5 to 1 ratio. Content should be organized under clear headings along using logical order. For example, a H1 followed by a H2, H3, etc. And not from H1 to H4, because then you will get some ARIA-related vulnerabilities and it takes time to fix. Elements that affect navigation should be consistent across the entire site. So consistency. And finally, AAA, which is single A, double A plus this. Contrast ratio is increased here for text and background from 7 to 1. Pre-recorded video content must have sign language translation. An extended audio description should be provided for pre-recorded videos. So a suggestion here. AAA is mainly for governmental use or government websites, medical websites, anything that's more secure. Security of the country, for example, they might have a website. So it's really, really strict sort of firm or company that has really, really important things to share to the public out there. They tend to go AAA. And then majority websites go AA, and there's loads that are single A as well. My suggestion would be stick to AA. If you miss any of these, you're at least a single A. But if you miss something for single A, there's no accessibility. So it's best to always go for the middle one or the higher one, depending on what sort of company you're part of. So who decides the conformance levels? The organization does. And best option, as I said, would be to go with something higher so that if you miss something, you at least have another conformance level rather than nothing. And AAA, as I said, is more governmental or medical organizations. So how did I bring accessibility to the team? Well, you have to bring some sort of awareness. So I started speaking about accessibility in the team. I started asking people, are you aware of this or not? And so on and so forth. I created some informative slides to showcase to my team. And I tried to speak to the technology manager and see if he's interested. And that's where he said, yes, communicate this to the team. This is super important. And I'm not sure why we missed it out. Then you want to work on your communication, because it's very easy for you to build amazing slides and think that your audience is going to understand. But many times the audience won't understand. So how could you make it interesting, yet very, very important as well for people to take the right information of it? Speak to individuals and other teams to see if anyone else in that team or company is doing it so that you can sort of collaborate or bring similar sort of processes into your team. Research, so suggest any options. So if you've basically tested one page of your application and the colors are not going well, you can still suggest colors that go well, because design teams and developers will take this very nicely that you are suggesting something and helping the team. And of course, create a report of your style. There's no perfect template of what you have tested and what you have found. Team coaching. So what do I do, or what would you do for your teams? So you would deliver information and you become a subject matter expert or an advocate for accessibility. How do I convince, or how would you convince? Well, you're going to convince by explaining accessibility and making sure you deliver the vital details. As I said, important information enough for the team members to take back with them. How do I back my point? Well, you back your point with some of your research and output of your results. You can even do a live demo in your meeting to showcase. I've used the ACTS toolkit, and these are the vulnerabilities we are seeing, and we can see that it's going more towards the red than the green. So we need to work hard on our application. And how do I know they understand, which is really important to think about as well. So what information they understand or find as blockers is something where you pacefully deliver and you constantly ask questions and see if you can unblock any sort of confusions. And continue doing these sessions so that it's clear in the team and the product owner is 100% clear to start making some items to the backlog. So when and how to do accessibility? Well, when you're doing your design phase or planning phase, it's a good place to start questioning. Have we thought about accessibility for this? Or how would we do accessibility on this in future? Start having these questions in your team. And of course, in the requirements phase, when a business analyst brings requirements to you, you might as well tell the business analyst to think about accessibility and ask the client, are we doing do we need to worry about accessibility here? Or because this is a product that's front end facing and your clients are going to use it, we should put some accessibility guidelines in this as well. So your business analyst can take this to the clients and come back with better requirements. But the good old budget. But this is something that many managers were telling me, and I was asking them the following things. Would you rather risk it? Because if we risk it, then we are risking it really badly, because we can have lawsuits against the company. And it takes only one person to sue. So it's better we follow these dependencies and fix them rather than dependencies following us in the future. You also want to reach out to more people and be mindful. We have loads of free tools available, so there's no worry about using tools that cost a lot of money. And at the end of the day, it is very important, so we should think about it. So what to include in my accessibility report? As I said, there's no perfect template, but you could put potentially these 3 areas into your report. So areas that you have tested, specifically, maybe if you've tested one area and you're concentrating on that, just showcase that, whether it's in a report or a demo, that's your choice. You want to showcase some of the results and how you were checking them as well. And maybe also provide some suggestions, as I said, some color mix matches, because maybe a pink that was non-accessible that the product team chose, there might be another pink right next to it that is very accessible. So you can suggest these things, and it's always taken very positively. So the results of this would be you become an advocate or a subject matter expert, spreading more eminence about accessibility in your teams and wider teams. You feel accomplished as well because team members approach you, like designers were approaching me and asking me, let's pair test this together to see if the design and the colors are going well, and let's do a quick accessibility check on it as well. And they like to keep you in the loop as well. So it's really, really good that you're doing this. So you could follow my steps or maybe make more steps. So it's really good to do some research on what accessibility is about and how you could do it in your teams. What is there already or isn't there? So you need to look about that as well. Test your application and showcase it. Prepare an informative session and have accessibility as part of your testing approach. Some quick tips and checks you could do. So these are some plugins you can have on Chrome. There are some mobile ones as well that I could potentially share with you or provide it to Tesena and they can email it to you. You have Arc Toolkit, which is really, really interesting because it has a thing called tab order and it can take you through all of the page of what order the page should go in. And you will notice that many websites have a very, very bad order because number 1 is there, 3 is down there, and that's when you know something's gone really bad accessibility wise. So you need a good flow. And our toolkit also provides really good information of vulnerabilities. It tells you exactly where exactly in the code you need to go and change. And the good things about your code as well. This is the first tool that tells you the good stuff about your code. Axe is very, very good as well. It's a decade product, and it's quite interesting to see what they provide as well. Wave is also another interesting tool. Again, good with vulnerabilities. I forgot to say about Axe. If you pay for Axe, you can actually go into specific tabs of your application now as well. But if you use the free one, you can just do a page at a time. Lighthouse is good. It's provided by Chrome. It gives you a good percentage if you're red, amber, or green, and the vulnerabilities. Remove styling is also a good one because it's good to see a company that uses a lot of pictures on their website. So if I remove the pictures, can I still go and do my shopping, or can I still continue with my processes? Because there's a small percentage of people in the world prefer lower bandwidth, so they remove pictures. Screen readers, so you've got loads, you've got some inbuilt on your Windows laptops and MacBooks that are free. Also, JAWS is paid for, but NVDA is free as well. And you can use dev tools like you see the screenshots on my page. In dev tools, you can actually do throttling to see how fast or slow your application is depending on the network. You can do emulation deficiencies, your vision deficiencies, to see if someone can't see the color blue, how would your website look like? If someone can only see black and white, someone can't see the color red, blurred vision, and you can test that. And you can also specifically go to the colors and see if your contrast ratio passes AA and AAA standards. So this is really, really interesting, and it's all for free. So 4 principles of accessibility content, and something really meaningful is, can I perceive it? Can I use it? Whether I have a temporary disability or a long-term disability. Can I grasp it? Do I understand it? Or can I access it? Is it robust enough to access through a phone, through a tablet, through a computer? It depends. Another video. Okay, so I'm trying to make a little muffin in the cup. It was a thing back in the day. All of Instagram was talking about a cupcake in a cup, and I'm making it. And I wanted to make blueberry one. So the blueberries, but as you can see, I've just put the basic needs of the cupcake, and I'm now putting my blueberries. Okay, so I don't think, and I remember this didn't taste good because I put the blueberries on the top rather than embedding it inside my cupcake so that they are flavorsome and they burst in my cake, and the cake tastes much nicer. This is how we do accessibility as well. We have monoliths of systems, and then we just stick accessibility at the end. And it can go positively or it can go negatively. So we need to be mindful and try and bake in accessibility earlier. Why does accessibility fail? Well, because many web developers are unaware of accessibility principles. Many website owners don't care about the negative image they portray and the potential loss of revenue. The web still contains legacy websites that date back a couple of years, and it is possible that they were adequate at that time, but not anymore. And conducting accessibility on applications is becoming increasingly difficult because we are becoming big. We have monoliths of systems, and we have complex nature of them as well. And accessibility evaluation may be overlooked, resulting in less accessible websites. So EU 2025 law, I'd invite you to have a look into that. All EU member states must have now transposed the European Accessibility Act into national law. As of 28th June 2025, companies must ensure that the newly marketed products and services covered by the Act are accessible. And of course, we love to hear a lot about artificial intelligence. So let me just quickly go over this. So generative AI tools like ChatGPT and AI-powered languages tool and Midjourney are all AI-powered and are things like the AI-powered image generator can potentially assist a lot of people with disabilities, which is really good. These tools could summarize content, compose messages, or describe images, and many more things. Example of already tools that are doing it is the Apple VoiceOver, YouTube's automatic captioning, Hand Talk, and many more. This has led to greater accessibility, and AI has made the web more accessible than ever for people with disabilities. So in summary, I hope you understood more about accessibility, how to introduce this to your respective teams, what you could do as well to get this to your team, and some useful tips and tools. Thank you very, very much, and I hope this was interesting for you.